Final Fantasy XIV player versus player is some of the most fun I've had in a competitive game in a long time. And I know that's a pretty big statement coming from someone who loves Halo and Apex and Splatoon and every fighting game under the sun. Y'all know what I do. What makes it so special? I don't know if you all have played MMOs and done their PvPs, but a lot of the times there's systems where you have to level up just like PvP or PvE, excuse me, and you have to like put in all this work and get gear just for PvP, just so you have enough punching weight, and it sucks. I hate it. I don't like those systems. They're fun games. I love World of Warcraft, but like, I don't want to spend my time like that. 14 PvP does not waste anyone's time. Once you get a job crystal and have access to PvP, which is not endgame by any way, shape, or form, you're in. You're good. You have a PvP profile with some set phrases, the abilities that every single job has, and then custom abilities for PvP only for your job. Some of these abilities are brand new signature abilities from Endwalker. Some of them are brand new moves just for PvP, just to give the jobs a bit more of a fuller PvP package. Everything from healers to tanks to damage dealers is useful. And it's not like a team deathmatch. It's actually tower control from Splatoon or payloads from Team Fortress 2. It plays on a symmetrical map where everyone gets around that tower ready to start a fight and throwing down and positioning for a brawl to try to take over the point and push it towards the enemy team's base. I could not be happier with this system. For 5-on-5 competitive gameplay, I think having a centralized objective as important as tower control means that a casual player will very easily understand what they need to do. And in a competitive landscape, that team deathmatch element of stage control and trying to control resources is unbelievably important. And that makes for a really fun game. So you need to understand, everyone has the same mechanics on a baseline. You can always sprint, you just press the sprint button and you're running, which is super fun. Everyone has a shield and a cleanse. They're both on a 30-second cooldown. The shield makes you slow, you take less damage. The cleanse removes most crowd control effects and makes you immune to some of them for a few seconds. So that can be a really powerful button for you to get some spells off or to go for some attacks, hopefully unhindered. And then everyone has a move called Recuperate. At least I think that's what it's called, but they have a heal. The heal spends their mana, so none of the abilities in this game mode use anything more than a cooldown. You need to heal when you take damage. It's one of the primary methods of healing other than little health pots scattered around the battlefield in various nooks and crannies. Your job is to stay alive, but if you burn through your whole mana bar, you're gonna have to back off and use the elixir. The elixir's a nice, I think, 4 or 5 second use. So you're just standing there using an elixir, hoping you get it off so you can full restore and get back to the fight. But that's what makes it interesting. When you see people low on mana, you know that's when it's time to push. You want to either secure that kill or force them off the back line, or start going for other people on the front lines in hopes to push them back off so you can stagger their forces. These strategies will help you push the crystal or help you regroup after you wipe. It's really important stuff, and it's very clear and cut what you need to be doing. You want to burn resources off people. You want to use your resources for the maximum amount of value that you possibly can while using the fun abilities of your jobs. The jobs in Final Fantasy XIV are so iconic, and in PvP, that's like condensed to a fine point. So I've only played 3 of them a decent amount, and mostly just Black Mage, but to give you an idea, Black Mage is all about sitting there and casting. Find that spot and cast. You build up either fire or ice, and as you build up the spells, when they hit level 3, they're AoE and they're doing a ton of damage. And then you go back to level 1. So it's all about kind of ramping through these spell ladders and deciding, do you want to burn the opponent, which can't be cleansed, or do you want to freeze the opponent, which can be cleansed, but it's going to pop a lot of people's cleanses. And because it's AoE, you might end up freezing a lot of people, but hold on. You don't just freeze them, you build a stack on them. You pop the brand new move Super Flare, or is it called Supernova? Anyway, you press this button and anyone nearby, walls or no walls, it doesn't matter if they're hiding, anyone in the nearby area will either set on fire or slow or freeze in place. And so it gives you this fun element of, do you want to control the battlefield or do you want to burn the battlefield? And then you have moves like Paradox that allow you to instantly set someone's stacks to maximum. So you fire an ice at someone, a blizzard, and then you paradox them, and now they're at full stacks of ice, and then you pop the ice and they're frozen. And you'll get someone who will absolutely panic because they're like, I was not expecting to be frozen in the middle of this battlefield in the first 6 seconds of combat, but here we are. And all the jobs have little combos like this, but it doesn't stop there. Black Mage can do things like Ethereal, where you dash at a target and you gain a use of Swift Cast, so now you can cast any of the channeled abilities instantly. So you can cast Burst, your highest damage button that gives you your 1/3 health shield from Mana Ward. So now Black Mage is incentivized to not only sit there and look pretty and throw fire and ice at things, but then when you seize the opportunity, you cast your big AoE sleep spell, you dash into the group of enemies, and as they all fall asleep, you hit them with one of the highest damaging abilities in the game, and nothing feels better. And that's just one job. Gunbreaker has Draw and Junction from Final Fantasy VIII, which is not in their kit as far as I know from PvE, and they get to choose DPS, healer, or tank, and if depending on who they draw from, gives them a different ability. But Astrologian, for instance, can bring a regen. And if you use their new ability Double Cast, you can give a shield. You can still pull cards, but the buffs are a little bit different. They're PvP centric, and they actually work on everyone in the area that's on your team, right? You can use Gravity as an instant cast to slow someone, and when you double cast it, it roots them instead. And with all these little combinations, you can find lots of plays and really help your team secure victory. And everything feels valid. I'm not an expert at the game. I only just hit gold. Everything feels pretty balanced. Like everything has a place, and maybe some things are slightly weaker or need to be a little bit stronger. Nothing here is egregious. It doesn't feel like an unbelievably unbalanced game that is unplayable. It feels like a good balanced arena brawler. Now, there are some problems with it that I'll bring up, but one of the biggest ones is the server latency. The tick rate on these servers and the lag can get a little big, but the game is also a pretty high time to kill. So a lot of the times you just start changing how you strategize to deal with lag. Like you will do things like, oh, I just took half my life bar and I'm stunned. I'm gonna cleanse and then heal and then shield, because if I do that in the wrong order, I might die before the heal comes out and then the shield does nothing for me. As much as the server tick problem and the latency can feel like an issue, it's fun. You play around it and it just works. There's like little nuances about the jobs that make them feel so unique. One of the Black Mage quirks I didn't really talk about is if it's the first 2 fire or ice spells, you can actually cast the opposite element to instant cast. It's pretty weak. It's not your strong spell, but if you mix that with Paradox to max out some stacks, you can get some really quick flow changes where instead of burning down a group, maybe you're suddenly freezing the ninja that jumped on top of you. And now the ninja is frozen and you're walking away with your team, and they have to decide, do they want to cleanse it and risk that you could do it again to them? You still have sleep and you still have another charge of super flare. It's these little things that are so much fun. Monk has a damn near touch of death. If they want to pop limit break, they can just kill you. So if you're on the back line and you're not thinking about your position and a monk comes through, you better use those cooldowns perfectly and get to your team as fast as possible, or that monk is gonna go in on you. I'm having so much fun exploring the metagame and learning what to do. Also, this stage here is just Windy Valley from Sonic Adventure, and it makes me really happy. I'm telling you, if you own Final Fantasy XIV, give it a shot. Please throw down in it, set up a PvP bar, have some fun in the casual matches. And I didn't even get to Frontlines, which is this 72-player, 3-team battleground that is just absolute chaos. But this is Final Fantasy as an arena fighter or an arena brawler, exactly the way it should be done. No gear score, no levels required, no absolute grind to get to the point where you can actually play the game. Once you have your job crystal in the single player, you're good to go. And you're maxed out in PvP as far as anyone else is concerned. And I'm so grateful for them to design it that way. And it just makes for truly such an original Final Fantasy experience that if you even like the slightest bit of PvP and Final Fantasy, I think you would play and have a legitimately wonderful time. Thank you guys so much for watching. And hey, hopefully I'll see you out there in the battlefield. Take care, friends. I'll see you in the next one.